Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Learning Kitchen Live. My name is Rachel. I'm a dietitian here with Community Servings. And today we have a really exciting episode planned because not only are we going to be cooking a delicious recipe and talking about the nutrition, we also have a guest.
Hi everyone, I'm Louis Forts. I'm the Major Gifts Officer with Community Servings, and I'm here to help out today with a fun recipe for you all.
So Louis actually has chosen the recipe that we're doing today, which is breakfast fried rice. And currently he's heating up some turkey bacon. But Louis, do you want to tell us a little bit about why you chose this recipe?
So I am a stickler for leftovers, Rachel, and I want to make sure that we can use anything in our fridge that we have before it goes bad. So a lot of times when I wake up on a Sunday morning and I'm trying to get my chores done, I need a little bit of fuel to get me going. So this is often my go-to. So it's breakfast leftover fried rice, really. We put leftover in parentheses because it's kind of just a mixed bag of whatever you have in your fridge that's going to keep you going for a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. So when he approached me, he's like, this is the recipe I want to do. I was thrilled because not only does it minimize food waste, but it's a great source of protein, fiber. It's really flexible with the amount of vegetables or types of vegetables that you can use. And I also think it's a good demonstration of how we can incorporate foods that might be typically considered unhealthy into a healthful diet. So we are using bacon, we are using soy sauce, all of which, or the bacon is going to be typically associated with fat and sodium, and soy sauce obviously with sodium as well. But we're going to talk to you a little bit about how we can do this in a way that can still be balanced. So Louis, what kind of vegetables do you typically use?
So vegetables that I typically throw in, it's always going to be an onion, maybe some garlic if you count it as a vegetable. Some people count it as a spice. I usually have a bell pepper that's kind of on its way out in the fridge, so that's usually my go-to as well. And then from there, it's kind of whatever you want to do to be most creative. Sometimes I have some frozen corn in the freezer. I'll throw some frozen corn in there. Sometimes we'll have some leftover bean sprouts or something from another recipe. Throw that in there too. It's kind of whatever you want to make it.
Yeah, and that's awesome because if you have picky eaters in your home, you can really cater this to what they're going to enjoy. So what we're currently doing right now with the bacon is it actually is turkey bacon, and it comes raw, so we need to make sure that we're cooking it all the way through. When we were discussing how we wanted to do this recipe, we had to make the decision between pork and turkey bacon. Mm-hmm. And so not only do we not use pork in this facility, but pork bacon is actually from the belly of the pig. And so it's typically, compared to turkey bacon, going to be higher in fat, specifically saturated fat, and calories. So turkey bacon, on the other hand, is going to be lower in all of those nutrients that I just mentioned, but it does run the risk of being high in sodium. Yeah, so when we eat too much sodium, we run the risk of impacting our blood pressure, which can lead to non-communicable diseases down the line. So,
Great, I think this is about done.
Excellent. So we have our bowl to put the turkey bacon into. And what are we going to do next?
We are going to start with the veggies.
All right.
So this didn't make as much oil as I thought it would because it's turkey bacon, and I'm not as used to cooking with turkey bacon. Yeah. So we're going to supplement with a little bit of vegetable or canola oil to get the pan nice and greased up.
Why did you choose canola oil specifically?
It has a lower smoke point than olive oil. You can use a pan spray, but this is usually kind of my go-to when I'm cooking.
Awesome. Love that. All right.
Great.
And now,
onions.
I'll get to dump that in.
Go right ahead.
And maybe throw in the mushrooms too?
Sounds good.
All right.
Hi.
All right. Yeah, and you can already start to smell the fragrance. The green onions that we're using, we actually separated the white from the green. You're going to want to typically use the white parts when you're cooking and then garnish with the green because these won't hold up as well under heat. So, Louis, I'm kind of interested. What or how would you describe your cooking style?
You know, a lot of people have seen me cook in the kitchen because I like to have social time when I'm cooking. And I've heard remarks like chaotic, but also resourceful and creative. So we'll take that as the general answer.
Yeah, I think that actually kind of sums up this recipe a little bit too. A little
Chaotic.
bit chaotic and resourceful, but delicious as well.
Thanks.
And so when you cook when you cook at home, are you following recipes or are you winging it?
So a lot of times I feel like what I cook is recipe inspired. A lot of times I'm looking to see what a recipe is calling for. And then in terms of quantities, I feel like a lot of times with seasonings, with spices, with salt, pepper, even like soy sauce and things like that, it's to people's personal tastes.
Yeah.
So I kind of go with what I'm feeling in the moment, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And that's actually kind of, I think, what you did with this recipe, because when he sent me the recipe, normally we'll pull something off the internet and then make it our own, but he actually sent me a document that he had typed up by himself with a picture of his own stir-fried rice. So
Yes.
very cool. All right, so I'm thinking that we can start to add the peppers in now because the mushrooms are softening a little bit, and it's all becoming fragrant. And so I'll let you add
Sure.
the bell peppers in. And something interesting about mushrooms that I think is good to share, especially with people who are cooking, is that it's really hard to overcook mushrooms because of the fiber, or basically what makes up the cells in the mushroom, called chitin. And so it's really heat resistant or heat stable. And so you can cook and cook mushrooms, but they won't get soggy, unlike bell pepper, which you're going to want to cook more moderately to maintain its crunch. So I think we're just going to wait till these soften up.
That sounds great.
And a fun fact about vegetables is that, or one thing that I really like about this recipe too, is that we have a lot of different colors here. And so when we incorporate a lot of different colors into our plate, we can basically maximize our chances of getting a balanced variety of nutrients, because different colors can give us a cue into what different nutrients are actually going to be inside the vegetable. So, for example, dark green, like we have here in arugula, going to be associated with vitamin K. Red and green, or red and orange are going to be associated with the vitamins A and K, or A and C. All right. So, Lewis, let's ask another question. Who's your favorite person to cook with?
Favorite person to cook with? You know, my partner at home is often in the kitchen with me, and she serves as a fantastic sous chef. So when it comes to washing the dishes as we're going, that's really helpful, and telling me I'm using too much salt. That's usually how she's helping me out, so
It is
she's
good
my
to
favorite.
Have someone mindful of that. And I think that's also a good point, that cooking can be for fuel, but also it's social and emotional, and can really bring people together. So that's awesome. All right. Do we think we're ready to take those?
I think
out of
we're
the
ready
frying pan?
to take these out, yes.
All right.
I'll take the bowl from you.
Wonderful. And now we're going to transition into frying our rice and then combine everything together.
Yes.
And so, Lewis, do you have a trick with the rice that you'd like to share?
Yes, so with the rice, you want it to get nice and crispy. Sometimes there's a little bit less, there's a little bit too much moisture in the rice when it's a little bit more fresh. I think this one's day-old rice, so what I want to do now is I want to get this to a nice hot point in the pan. After this is hot, which is right about now, I usually add in our oils. So
Let's actually
this
start
is,
with the higher temperature
Yes.
oil. Yeah.
so that's a little bit of our canola oil in there. And then we're going to throw in the rice.
You can hear that sizzle too. Yeah, and so we're going to go in with our oil that has a higher smoke point, because sesame oil, which we also have here, it's going to be super flavorful, but it's not as heat stable. So we're going to use that at the end to finish it off so we can get the flavor of the sesame, but not cause it to smoke up in here.
Right.
Which I've definitely done before. I think we all have. So it's a learning process. And we're going to season with some soy sauce, which brings us back to sodium. So you can use a reduced sodium soy sauce to limit the amount of sodium that you're going to be getting from this dish. And also just making sure that you're using sodium in moderation and utilizing other flavoring agents. So like I said, we have this sesame oil, and we also have some red chili flakes for some extra spice, which is a good lower sodium alternative compared to sriracha, which can also be used. All right, Lewis, while we're waiting for the rice to crisp up, Who played the biggest role in teaching you how to cook?
So when I was growing up, I loved watching Food Network. I grew up as an only child for a very long time. And so the Food Network, Rachel Ray, Emerald Lagasse, bam, you know? Like people like that really helped me see what a variety of cooking could look like. And also some shows that are tailored towards like 30-minute meals or easy cooking recipes that are built out of cabinets, like cabinet staples or kitchen staples, really helped me develop skills like this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a recipe that stands out to you that you've gotten from one of these shows that you like to cook? Not to put you on the spot.
You know, it's a little bit more intense and involved than this, but I loved watching one episode of Emerald. He made like an Alfredo,
Oh, okay.
and so that's always stuck with me. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe next time.
And we'll put a healthy spin on it too.
All right, soy sauce.
All right, yeah. So now we're gonna add some soy sauce, and also, so that's gonna come together, and then it also will give the brown color in addition to the browning from the pan that we associate, or I associate with fried rice.
Yes, and we're gonna add the vegetables back in now since our rice is seasoned
Love it.
and ready to go.
All right. Toss that together, and look how fancy he is with the stirring. Doesn't even need a spatula. Incredible. All right.
So that's really hot.
So now I think Lewis is going to teach us how to do an egg to
Fry
top
some eggs.
this. Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna cool this down a little bit.
Yeah,
'cause
fair
it's a little
enough.
hot.
So while he's doing that, what I'm going to do is talk about eggs nutritionally. So eggs are a great source of protein. They're going to be a complete source of protein, which means that all the different building blocks of proteins that our body needs to function are going to be found in an egg. So sometimes they get a bad rap for cholesterol because they are pretty high in dietary cholesterol. But what you may have heard by now is that dietary cholesterol does not actually impact as much as we had previously thought our blood cholesterol, which means that eggs in moderation can be actually a part of a healthy, heart-friendly diet.
Grab the spray.
All right. So why don't you talk us through what you're thinking here?
Eggs are my favorite food. So oftentimes when I need a quick meal, I'll throw some rice on the stove and I'll fry an egg with it. So I think this is pretty much done. We have our pan here with our eggs in it. And all we're doing is cracking them into a pan. It's like a low to medium heat right now. And as that's going, I usually like to give it like a minute or two. And depending on how you like your eggs, you can do it any style with this recipe. You can have sunny side up, you can have over easy, you can break the yolk and have them hard, you can scramble them up and throw them in the rice. However you want to have it is up to you.
Yes, I will add a caveat that if you or someone that you're cooking for is at high risk for foodborne illness, I would suggest cooking the egg all the way through, so making sure it's reaching an internal temperature of 160 degrees, so that we're making sure any salmonella is being cooked off. And you can also know that it's at temperature if the egg becomes firm and
Yes.
there's no runny yolk.
Exactly. So as that's cooking, what I like to do, you want to have your yolk cracked?
Yeah, why don't you crack?
Great.
I personally like my egg cooked all the way through, but I know that a lot of people like it a little jammier.
And so with my egg, I like to steam it a little bit while it's in the pan. So I throw some water in there, just a little bit, and I cover it up and let it do its thing.
So fancy.
Set it and forget it.
All right, well,
So-
while we're forgetting it, let's should we plate up the rice right now?
Do we throw the sesame oil in first?
Yes,
Just give
let's
a little
do that.
extra oomph.
Yeah, we can't forget that.
So not too much on the oils. You don't want to be all greasy when you're eating it. But the sesame oil is going to give that nice flavor that a lot of people are looking for with fried rice.
And we also have a bed of arugula right here. I know that we both like kind of the peppery taste of arugula, but sometimes it can be a little bit much for people. So basically, looking for something that's going to be dark green. It's going to be a little, it will hold up under heat a little bit better and not get wilty like a, well, it will get pleasantly wilty, unlike a romaine. So spinach could be a good replacement. Even kale could be nice to put this on.
So I'll plate this up for us. That seems like enough for one portion, right?
And garnish a little bit with the greens of the green onion that we had previously alluded to earlier. And a little bit of sesame seeds for some crunch and also flavor. You could also toast sesame seeds if you would like to bring out a little bit more nuttiness, but this works as well. Oh my goodness, stunning.
Here we go.
Wow. There you have it. And break the yolk right now.
Yeah, look at that.
Well, there you have it. And I guess before we go, Lewis, do you want to say a little bit about what you do here at Community Serving?
Sure. So I work on our development team, and a lot of times when we have folks in the community that want to know more about what we do here at Community Servings, I am some of the first people that they talk to, or one of the first people that they get to talk to. So if that means coming in for a tour, coming in to learn more about our volunteer program, they saw us on Learning Kitchen Live and want to see what the kitchen's like, that's a lot of what I do, and hosting a lot of special events throughout the year for folks who support our work financially as well with gifts.
Awesome. So keep an eye out for those events, and thank you for tuning in. If you try this, let us know in the comments. Recipe, as always, will be linked, and see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.